said, if you hang around with 8 or 9 broke
People.
cynical,
Yeah.
negative people,
Yes,
you'll be the
gonna be
10th
the
one.
10th one. Yes.
Because whatever that you breathe around you,
The toxicity.
you've got no choice but to follow suit.
Hello everyone, and Njani Makaya, and Phila Mnangapha, ne? I hope you're right nani, ne? Guys, welcome back to a podcast from Nothing to Something podcast, man. And Abulela for you guys to join us today. Guys, today I've got a guest session. Like I told you guys, I'm gonna bring you guys people who are gonna come on the show and come and help me with this load, in order to motivate abantu, to inspire abantu, people who've got interesting stories, people who have faced obstacles in their lives, and they've also had Ilandic wins, also their triumphs, and they're here now to motivate you guys to share wisdom yabo, to share values zabo, principles, the methods that they've used to overcome as challenges ne. All right, before I go any further, guys, hey, sometimes I can be nervous, ne. Zippy manners, I didn't even introduce myself, ne. As you know, man, igama lam ndungu-Anele Sokapase, ne, aka uta Ace, uta Mabheka, inja yegame, inja yempilo, ukabadia, upunyo kabantete. And like I always say, sorry about that, guys. And like I always say, man, if I call myself Inja a game, it's only fair that I bring Isn't Just a Game on the show. Like I said, abantu who know their story, abantu abapushayo, who don't make excuses, a life in, So yeah, man, like I said, so without wasting time, I'm gonna introduce my guest. His name is Mr. Nande Masoka, ne Maqubela. I hope I'm pronouncing it well, man. Ngumxhosa ne, yeah, finally ndakhe ndahlala nomxhosa ke ngoku umkhaya ke ngoku ne. And then yeah, man, let me just introduce him quickly ne. Mr. Maqubela, guys, he has a very impressive and colorful portfolio, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying isn't just a game, isn't just impilo. People about driven, about pushy, So let me just go through his profile or portfolio quickly ne. He's a quantity surveyor. He's a regional projects manager. He's an entrepreneur. He's a founder of QNM Distributors. He's also a co-founder of Fresh Valley Produce. He's also an investor, guys, and then he's also a speaker. I'm more interested in the speaker part, because I'm planning now. You'll never know in the future. So that won't guide the man. So I'm gonna give it to the gentleman now, Mr. Maqubela, man. Can you kindly introduce yourself to our viewers and just tell them where you were born and where you grew up, basically. All right. And then we'll take it from there.
All right. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the podcast Nothing from Something.
From nothing to something.
Or from something. Sorry.
From nothing to something.
Pardon me on that one. So from nothing to something. I think let's start from there. That's a powerful concept.
Sure.
Because every one of us, I think, sisonke singabantu.
Sure.
Siqala somewhere, yabo.
Sure.
Siqala somewhere, sizibone somewhere, yabo. There's a statement I once came across. It says, "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great." So it does not start by greatness. It starts by starting. You have a starting point, then you grow in terms. So your podcast from nothing to something, it literally resemble and you don't have to be great to start, but you need to
Baby
start.
Steps.
So yeah.
Baby steps.
So for the viewers, as by Uchilo put
the ace.
The ace.
We just met today, guys. I'll tell you how I met him.
Exactly. So yeah, as by Uchilo the ace. Ikamlam Gunande or Maqubela. Umaso expresses tuku. So ndingunande wakwamaqhubela. I was born eMthatha in the Eastern Cape. Look, there's nothing so much to say about eMthatha.
Yeah.
The fact that abantu abaninzi bayazi through, because xa usithi eMthatha they just think of uMandela. But yeah, so I was born in that town. Not so many years ago, but yeah, a couple of years ago. First and foremost, I was born in a very young age, of course. But anyway, so I was born there and I did my schooling that side.
Okay.
Mthatha, then my high school, I did it in Cape Town, a boarding school in a Christian school, Seventh Day Adventist school. It's called Gurop High School, it's a Ghost River. Then did my tertiary level, a Walter Sisulu University, a bigger campus. Did my varsity there. I did national diploma in building. Then went to CPUT after that to go to BTech in quantity surveying. Probably let me just say this because obviously the podcast itself is also just encouraging people that probably have less fortunate background.
Sure.
I didn't have rich parents. Didn't have rich parents. Actually, let me put it this: I didn't have parents that could afford
The school fees
and
all
so
those
forth.
things,
So I went through all of my schooling by student loans, if I can put it that way. Student loans, and also got to work as schooling as a tutor at some point, so that
As a side hustle.
As a side hustle.
Yes.
So I was tutoring the first year students and so forth, trying to get some money and so forth. But anything that I laid my hands on that is sellable, I was selling as schooling. Everything I was just selling. So I was able to make some extra
coins,
cash, extra cash from there, like pocket money, so and all of that. Because we're actually having a conversation with a colleague of mine, and it's basically telling me, relating a story of Lendo's Mchana wake, who's actually complaining about the pocket money that they're getting, but it's too little. I mean, the person is getting 5K on a monthly basis, and I'm saying, in my time, as endlini banemali, they would give me 400 rand a month. And that has to last me throughout. So I needed to supplement that and be able to make ends meet and so forth. So yeah, so that's I think my upbringing. So I came to Gauteng 2013.
Okay.
After completing everything, 2013. Then I stayed a year without a job. So there's something that says go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. It's not always the case. It's not always the case. We go to school, we get good grades, and then we come back. We just add into because every year, varsity pump hundreds of thousands of students every single year. So I was part of that group. I would say I was part of that group. People that are looking for Msebenzi. So me being in the construction, probably, I don't know if it's worth saying this on record, but anyway, this is what I did. I'm not saying people should do that. I don't know if it's still applicable, but this is what I did. I started off going to companies like door to door, but that didn't work out. So door to door doesn't work out. You get in there, the first thing they say, there's no job. Remember, there's no job. I went into the CIDB website. So it's a CIBD website. And then I checked construction companies that are grade 6, 7, 8. There was a long list in Gauteng. Then I went there. And I checked the owner's details, basically, the email. So I would sit on the internet cafe every single day, send my CV to 100 companies every single day. 100 companies, but it's not sending it to the reception. I'm sending it straight directly to the owner. Straight directly to the owner of the company. So I did that every single day, and I think for a 5 months consecutive, every single day. I think that the time I started being called on interviews, it was a nightmare, because it was just one interview after the other. Literally, it was. I would go to an interview. Yes, I'd go to an interview today. Later on, like I'd go 10 in the interview, or 12 in the interview, in the afternoon in the interview. Tomorrow, same thing. It was just one thing after
those
that.
applications.
Because of those applications. But
I
think the reason, Abumilo was always the relevance of this. I think the relevance of everything is that it's something that I thought about at the time, which was not really done. to go into CIDB website. This is a database of companies and researching who are the company owners and sending it to there, and not just giving up to say, you know what, Komsebenzi, and so forth, and all of those things. But let's tell people as well that I also worked in a petrol station. As a
petrol attendant.
Exactly, as a petrol attendant, because I
didn't. There's no job beneath wena.
Exactly. So I used to do that back in the day. That was back in 2014. I stayed in Pretoria, a Sunnyside. For those that know Pretoria, Sunnyside, it's not a pleasant place to stay in. But yeah, I stayed there, and obviously, finally I got umsebenzi. This omnyumama that saw potential in me. The company name is called Bella Casa. Investment. So I got there, then moved from there. I was working there as a junior quantity surveyor. You can put it that way. Then I moved from there to another company called Siahlobis. It was just here in Kempton Park, not far actually from where we are. Kempton Park, and then how I moved into the current space that because I'm in the banking space, right? I'm in the banking space. So how I moved currently to the current space, but it was a company that has been contracted by the bank, obviously, to recruit people and so forth. So a friend of mine was actually, as I'm saying, a friend of mine was actually called in for an interview. His name is Diro. So he was called in for an interview for this company, and I was frustrated now where I was, because I was like, every month boardroom.
Every month
guys, it's has government so forth and all of that. So your salaries are going to be a little bit delayed and so forth. And so a friend of mine was actually called in for an interview. So he called me and he said, dude, I'm called in for an interview, but like, listen, the recruitment guy, basically, Umjita is one of us. Like, that's one of us. Like, is a black guy. It's not a white guy. Black guy is one of us. So I on the day of interview, I want us to go together. Basically. Sharp. We got in there. I can still remember. I think it was on a Tuesday, back in 2015. It was on a Tuesday. We got in there. And this guy's like, okay, who's Diro? Okay, here's Diro. You're here for an interview? No, we're not here for an interview. Just need 5 minutes of your time. Like, what is it? And basically we're saying, dude, listen here. Diro's got a permanent job.
Sure.
I don't. Sure. Whatever that I have, Diro, Unande has. Level of experience has. The guy laughs. It's like, hey, come my shop be Muslims, Pakistan. Sure. Like, no, we understand. But look, all you're saying is that there's a CV.
Yes.
There's a candidate.
Sure.
There's a candidate. Just have a look at it.
Yes, and see.
I'm telling you, we went home. I prayed about it. Got home. I prayed about it. 2 weeks later, I was called in for an interview in the company. Sure. And I tell you now, from when on the day of interview, I got into the interview and the interview went so well. I remember the guy asking me, so when can you start? I said, immediately. Mind you, I'm still working. I'm still working there. I said, immediately. It's like, no, are you sure you can be here by tomorrow? I said, yes. Even today, we can start. I'm not telling anyone, but today we
were
can
you that
even
frustrated
start.
with the other job?
I was very much frustrated because
the boardroom. I forgot now.
These guys were owing me 2 months of salary. So I was very much frustrated.
Now
even today,
the bills.
So I went to do my security clearance and so forth, access cards, and then the Booyah, and the rest was history. But honestly speaking, I joined 2015. I'm still there. But I can tell you, God has been so good to me from 2015 till this. We are going into 2025, so it means it's going to be 10 years. I have changed roles 5 times within that space. Literally from where I got
maybe
in.
every second year.
Yes,
so almost like every
exactly.
second year.
So
you can say,
from when I got in, I think from when I gone in as a QS, and the following year, which was 2016, that was when the change started.
Okay.
Because the contract that we were working on came to an end. So I changed from that to something that was called client relation management.
Okay.
And I'll tell you where it fit all of this, because I was actually having a conversation with my mom. I want to speak about that because I take pride kakhulu xa ndithetha ngomama, because it's a person that oye wandikhulise ebomini.
Sure.
Too much. Utata msaphila, but ngesixhosa sithi uyaphila but ufethe uthola umnqwazi. Like he was not really there.
Yeah.
Not really present in my life. Yeah, so he was not really present in my life. So my mom was the rock throughout.
Present isn't like even like physical in the house. Or ngumuntu nje bengasupporti ngekho attentive.
Yonke nje loo nto. So
okay.
so let me probably mention this. So my parents divorced. Yabo.
Yeah. At what age?
Divorced.
At what age were you?
When, I don't know.
10 years, less than 10.
No. I was more than that.
Okay, about 15 to 20 maybe.
Probably there, because it was 2006 to be precise.
Okay.
So 2006, I was doing.
You were in high school.
I was in high school.
Yeah,
2006.
going towards matric. Yeah.
I was in high school 2006. So 2006 when my parents got divorced officially.
Any siblings? Sorry, any siblings?
I have one sibling. I have one
Younger
sibling.
than you?
A older sister.
Older sister. Okay.
I have an
Right.
older
Okay.
sister.
All right.
So yeah, so she has been I digressed a bit.
The mother, yes.
So
You
I
were going to
digressed
talk
a
about the
bit.
mother.
Yeah,
I understand. So.
digressed a bit, but coming back to myself, I was telling Asukla, I was having a conversation about with my mom actually about the client relation job that I did not like. I want to put that. So I moved from being a QS to becoming a client relation manager.
Okay.
And I hated it.
Sure.
Hated it. Like I just didn't understand, why am I doing this? I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine at the time who was about to leave for the UK. So he was basically saying, dude, know this thing. In life, you don't get to choose the cards which are laid in your table. However, you have the power to reshuffle them and make them work for you. So I did not really understand the words at the time. I think they didn't really sink in. They didn't really sink in. So as time went by, because I started learning some few things, some few skills as a client relation. I eventually left the company. I resigned basically because I was like, I don't like this. I resigned. I ventured with my first shot in entrepreneurship. I think at the time, as I was saying at school, anything that I laid hands on, I'll just sell everything.
Yes.
I'll just sell everything.
Who taught you the sorry to disturb you in between?
No problem.
But who taught you this selling skill? Anyone?
It was my mom.
Okay.
So the person that really came with the entrepreneurship spirit at home, if I can put it that way, was Uma. From a young age, at school, we used to sell chips, chocolates.
Yeah, sure.
Because she was a single parent, she needed this. So she taught us to a very young age to be independent and all of that. So I used to sell, even though sasizitya,
yeah, but you've made a profit at least.
Exactly, would make a profit. But that lesson itself taught us life skills, like survival skills, if you can put it that way.
Which you need, yes.
So I at the time I was selling a product, and I think my how can I say that, my profit at the time was sort of kind of matching my salary, but that I was getting, and a little bit more. I decided, you know what, let me just give this full time. Let's see how it goes. So I gave it full time because I was still young. I made some few errors and decisions. I moved from the company, I moved from that product into another product, which was a premature decision, if I can put it that way, which led to the collapse of my first attempt into entrepreneurship.
What does the product again? Forgive me.
So the product, it was basically on, it was basically on
the one
health
that
product.
collapsed. The one that collapsed.
Yeah, it was basically on health product. It was a slimming product, like a slimming tea of some sort.
Okay, I get you.
So my target market,
something
something like that. So So I ventured into the industry of what is called network marketing, if I can put it, direct sales. Yeah,
All right.
ventured into that, and I was just focusing on selling. Yeah, but not even. I'm not even going to talk about recruit. I was just focusing on selling the product.
Sure.
My customer base was just females. It wasn't my name, just females.
Smooth talk.
Just females, and I was just
So
that. Literally, I would just get into a lift, and we're like, okay, who's gonna break the ice? And then people start laughing. Then I start talking to them.
Yeah.
And then I've gotten a client base from there. Then I call them. Hey, look, listen, I've got this. It has done this and done this for me. Would you want to try it? Yes, I would want to try it. Sure, no problem. So in the sales that I was making so much into that. So I think fast forward to that, I eventually came back. So my boss called me, like, hey, dude, there's this specialized role that has just been created. Do you want? And I came back. It was called a system. How can I? Let me gather my thought. It was called Workplace Solutions Planning. I remember. Yeah.
Okay.
It was basically a specialized role. Then from there, I moved to Workplace Systems Analyst, and by God's grace, my boss went into retirement, and because I saw the opportunity, I ended up heading the department. And then from there, from 2022, then moved into. So probably you might be asking, what is the correlation between? Okay, look, it is in the same industry, which is quantity surveying and project management. But obviously, I was not a project manager at the time. But at work, because there were some project management roles that were there, I started tapping into the space and equipping myself and so forth, so that I'll be able to. Basically, I was setting myself up for my next position or my next move in life.
Yes.
Then the time came. I was then appointed as the regional project manager at work.
Yeah, which is what I read. Yeah.
Which is my current role. Basically, I'm just heading a region. So at work, the region is divided into provinces. So my region is basically the vast one. It's 6 provinces basically. It's KZN, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, Northern Cape, Northwest, and Free State. Sure. So those are the provinces that are under my portfolio. I do have project managers in the region that are reporting to me currently. And we basically just doing project management work, which is what I would say what I love at the moment.
Yeah, I was about to ask. No, you enjoy this one.
I very much enjoy it because look, to us, I did quant surveying, but it was starting to become monotonous a little bit. So I needed a little bit of challenge, and me needing a little bit of challenge, I started preparing for my next move. Then when the time came for me to move, I then made the move. So look, in terms of, I think I said something earlier on in client relation management, which I hated. You know, I'd say something. Some of the things that or some of the phases that we pass through, we don't know why we do.
Yes.
At that time. But God is preparing you, shaping you. Yeah. You know, there's a story in the Bible. I'm gonna end by it and then give it back to you.
Yeah, sure.
Now I've said a lot.
Yeah. I was like, no, let him go. Just let him be. Let him settle in.
But wait. So as I'm saying that some of the stages that we go through in life, we don't know why we go through those stages.
Please
right?
listen,
we don't know why we go through those stages. However, they are preparing us for the future. Because in my current role, as I'm saying, I'm a regional project manager, so which means I deal with a lot of clients, indirect or direct clients as well. So I deal with a lot of clients, and a part of my role currently now is in client management. Now, I did not know that when I was being moved to becoming a client relation manager, I was being trained and prepared for my how can I say, for a role that came 3 times, like in future. So you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
it was from a client. I went from a workplace solutions planner, workplace systems analyst, and then a MAC manager, which is a national MAC manager, and then then Shion, then a regional project manager. So I think it's, if you're compacting in terms of years, 2018 till 2022. So
4 years.
no, not 2020, not 2018, sorry man, 2017 and 2022. So 2017, I did something that I did not like, but it was a training ground for my role that started in 2022. Do you see the link? You see the link. So as I was saying, there's a story in the Bible that I like. It's a story of Joseph.
Okay.
It's in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
It's in Exodus. The story of Joseph. So Joseph dreams a dream with his brothers. He has got 11 brothers.
Yes.
He dreams a dream. He's saying kuko is tungu, which is sheaves in English.
Yes.
And he says in the dream the sheaves they bow down to one.
To one, which is his.
The brothers are furious.
Who the hell do you think you are? Yeah. The youngest, plus is the youngest.
They sell him to the Ishmaelites, right?
Sure.
The Ishmaelites sell Joseph to Egypt,
Yes.
right? Joseph in Egypt starts at Potiphar's wife as a servant.
Yeah, Nanso.
Let's listen. He didn't just get there, but he started off as a servant. From being a servant to prison for years for something that he did not do.
Unfair.
That's something that he did not do. But he came out of prison to becoming a prime minister of Egypt. Right? To becoming a prime minister of Egypt.
Second in command.
Second in command
Yeah,
in the
well,
whole, in the
I know it
entire
very well.
Egypt. Now, when his brothers come into Egypt, because there's famine in all of the land,
Yes.
Joseph says to his brother, you thought that you were doing bad unto me, right? But it was God's plan preparing us for this time, right?
For that role, the prime minister.
Exactly, preparing us for this time so that when the time of famine comes, I and my family do not suffer to death because I am put strategically into this position. Now, so I'm saying, in life, we can go through stages that we don't really like, right?
Yes.
But embrace them. I want to say that to somebody that is listening there, embrace them. Exactly. Embrace them because you don't know what the future holds. I can guarantee you every step of your way that you're going through, you are being prepared.
It prepares for land uyifunayo. When are you thinking the path to that thing uyifunayo is easy? No. Easy come, easy go. And it. So Khotmane, you've said it. I was like, let me let you be. But let me go through a few of my questions.
No problem, brother.
Before maybe we run out of time and all those things. Let me just ask you a few questions. Maybe we won't get through all of them.
Yeah.
But I'm glad, man. You've said a mouthful and full of gems. You were not just talking.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys picked up, some of the stuff you were saying. And then I wanted to ask also, because you've answered the first question, because I was going to ask about the obstacles and challenges that you faced earlier in your life, in your career. You've already answered that. So I want to ask now about how important it is to have the right type of people around you when you are pursuing your goals that you are pursuing. Your circle, Hortman. How important is these people that are surrounding you?
All right.
Can be family, your friends, your spouse, partner, whatever. Hey, those are your people, right? So how important is to have the right people now who are not gonna cause distractions and what? Yes.
So let me probably make an analogy, right? Let's take a glass of juice or wine. Let me put it that way. Juice or wine, whatever the case, whatever the substance is on site there.
Yeah.
You've got this juice or 100% grape juice.
Yeah.
And then you bring in dirty water.
Yeah.
You pour it.
Yeah.
What happens to the juice?
Hey, juice yamoshaka.
Sure. It's the same thing. Association is everything, right?
Sure.
There's a statement that was made by one of the people that I listened to so much when I started my job, which is called Les Brown. He's a motivational speaker, but a retired motivational speaker. He's in the US. So he said, if you hang around with 8 or 9 broke people, cynical, negative people, you'll be the 10th one.
Yes.
Because whatever that you breathe around you,
The toxicity.
you've got no choice but to follow suit, right? So there's another book that I also read. It's written by this author, actually passed on many years ago.
Yeah.
It's called Ellen G. White. She said the greatest hazard or the greatest danger to a man. Now, let me break down this. When he says men, it doesn't mean men as
Just
in the gender.
The gender, yeah.
Men in terms of humanity.
Yes.
Right. So the greatest hazard or the greatest danger to a man is his spouse. So
one of the questions, but again now.
so is a spouse,
I
right?
know you're flowing. Eh?
So the person that you're getting married to is very much pivotal that you get the right person. How do you do that? Obviously, by weighing up yourself, evaluating who you are. You must evaluate who you are and what you stand for. Yeah, but what you stand for. So who you are and what you stand for, you're able then to find the person that is aligned to the vision that you exactly. So you're able to align. So you're not just going around and looking
Fishing.
for a person. Now I'm looking for a wife. I'm looking for a husband. No.
It will be dictated by
A person.
When.
Exactly. A
The
person.
vision on eye.
Exactly.
Then, yes.
Exactly.
Sure,
Exactly.
man.
So a person will be attracted to your vision.
Yeah. Get up. And yes, and the whole floor. Can I just focus something in there?
Yes, man.
You remind me of what my wife once said one time. She was like, uyandithanda fro, athi but into endiyithandileyo ngawe ube nevision.
Yeah.
That's what attracted me more to you. Yeah. It was your vision. And I share this vision in my storyline, like yes, when I'm narrating my story. At yes. When you take grand, you won't but your vision, guys. Yeah. So, guys, let's listen to this guy. I don't want to talk too much today. Yes.
So look, coming back to your question, association and circle.
It's everything.
It's everything. If what you feed on a monthly, not a monthly basis, but on a daily basis is toxicity, negativity, and all of that, complaining. Do you think positivity is going to become out
it's
of
not
that?
going to be.
It's not going to be able to
it don't come out. No.
So if you want to move forward, and this is what I have practiced in my life, there are people that I grew up with. I don't talk to them. Doesn't mean that.
But I sent you the question.
So I don't talk to them. Right?
I wanted to ask before you could. I wanted to ask after that question.
Yeah.
During this, because you seem like a focused guy. You can tell. He's a driven guy. No nonsense. He doesn't make excuses. Where there was lack, he made a plan. Watengisi sweets, watini. Garage. So you are that guy.
Yeah.
So that means how people is successful be locked in, guys. Just like this guy. Ne? Sharp. Now, funeka ube locked in galoko to avoid the distractions. Ezithetha usandothetha ngazo, ezi association what. Now, the next question Namnans. Did you now in your pursuit on this journey, did you lose some of these people that we are talking about here? Your childhood friends, your day ones and stuff, your best friends and what. That you guys thought, Tina, so chata sonke singamajita or whatever, or even that partner that you thought ubangabana uyomchata one day, this one is meant for me, blah blah. All this type. Did you on your journey to success? My question is, did you ever lose any people in your life, the close ones, the loved ones, even like your family members, by misunderstand your friends and don't you're no longer doing the same habits as them? Did you go through that process of losing people?
Yeah, no, I did. Probably the most sensitive one that I would say is that I almost got married. I'm not married, guys, so I almost got married. Sure. But the partner that I was dating at the time, I was trying entrepreneurship and so forth. But I tried explaining the vision to the person, and also showed the vision to, but she just didn't get it. Just didn't get it.
Impatient.
Honestly speaking, and it was a struggle until we got to a point where, but look, she's a fine person, like proper person. I would not fault her, but it was just our visions and we're not interlinking towards each other. So it is very dangerous now to proceed. It happens. It's very dangerous to proceed when your visions are not aligning or your goals are not aligning. So that's why I'm saying She's a nice person. When we meet, we greet her. She's
Friendly and
she's married now, so which is good.
hard
It's
feelings.
beautiful.
No
See
hard
what I'm trying to say is that. But our visions are so I've lost people. I've lost friends that I grew up with and not really, I wouldn't say lost.
Yeah.
Let me not use that word lost as if we're but it's just that I talk less with them. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
So even with family, it comes with family. There are family members that I talk less. You can't lose family.
Detach. You can't choose your family.
Family is
remember that.
family.
is
So what I'm just saying, so I talk less with them because let me pause and say this. Let's say you want to go to Cape Town. You've never been to Cape Town.
Yeah.
Never been to Cape Town, but you just want to go to Cape Town. But the people that are around you are always talking about Soweto. I know Soweto is this beautiful, this and what. They're just always talking about Soweto. They're giving you this vision of Soweto.
Yeah.
Do you think that the vision or the goal that you ever wanted to go to Cape Town is going to be there?
Aye.
It will never be there because it's always going to it's just going to
What you're
die, it's gonna
hearing.
blick. It's going to die down.
Yeah.
Die down.
Dim the
and
light.
then it's going to finish.
Diminish.
Because
eventually.
the people that are around you are just always talking about Vilakazi street.
Yeah.
So Vilakazi street.
All the time.
Hey.
Come on. And there's nothing wrong with just to part-time.
Exactly.
Just part-time there, but
So,
not...
Exactly. So you're never going to get to where you want to go to. You never. Because the people around you are not talking about what you want. They're not
Feeding into it.
They're not feeding into it.
it. Yes.
Instead they're just by telling a man.
Yeah.
Telling a
I
man.
entertain in a way.
Beqaleni.
And if abantu they have their best interest at heart for you, when it comes to you, bekumele bayiwatarisha le landini,
Correct.
Yes. So my next question to you, but yeah, you're answering other questions also. I like it. But the other question that, because I know you're a man of God, how I got hold of him, he was just posting, he made a post about, quoting a scripture. Like he was, he's been quoting scriptures, not Joseph. So that's how I got to pick him, to come to the show, guys. So as a man of God, here's my question for you now. What did I say here? I believe that, I'm going to read it, ne? I believe that a man needs to find himself, you've said that already, ne? And his purpose through God, ne? Before anything. And then I said in bracket, meaning you need to know what you want out of life.
Yeah.
You said that. Ne? Then can go, and the sooner he finds God, the better. So that he can provide the guidance. You understand? I would like to know what you think about involving God in your hustle. Because when you have your capability, you have your own potential, you take those capacity song and it make smart decisions. But abantu, I think, baphelela apho mistake yabo. And then there are going to be greater challenges that also need a higher power, I believe. And this is how I got where I am. Was then I engage at the higher source. So I want to know from what do you think about that involving God now?
So as
On
you
your
said,
journey,
as you said, Tumna, I'm everything that I do is centered around God.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer in God.
Sure.
And the Bible says the fear of the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God, right? And let me use this, right? Let's say you're driving from here to Rustenburg. Rustenburg, just there's no particular reason why I chose Rustenburg. But yeah, it's just I've never been to Rustenburg. I've been to Rustenburg. I'm just saying you've never been to Rustenburg. You're driving to Rustenburg.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna get into the car and say, okay, I think Rustenburg is this way. Let me start driving this way.
Yeah.
What will happen to you? Will you get to Rustenburg?
No.
The answer is no. You'll probably find yourself
Somewhere
in KZN.
Pelona petrol.
Pelona petrol. Yeah. But what do you do nowadays? You get into Navigator.
GPS, yeah.
Put in the coordinates. This is where Rustenburg. Then I go there. So this is the role. God knows the route. He knows where we want to go. He knows. Right? Remember, God is past, present, and future.
Plus, unale plan
Exactly. Jeremiah says.
Sure.
Book of Jeremiah says, "For I know the plans or the thoughts that I have
for you. Plans to prosper you. And not to
harm you.
And
I like this thing that says, plans to give you an expected end.
Sure.
So let's break that down.
Sure,
An
man.
expected end. It means that success is guaranteed, guys. Let me put it that way.
That's all.
It is guaranteed.
Right?
It means whatever that you're planning, it is guaranteed.
Sure.
The process, I'm not worried about the process.
Sure.
Right? Let me make a story as well in the Bible. It's in Luke. Jesus says to his disciples, let us cross over to the other side of the shore. He does not say let's attempt.
Yeah.
He says let us
Must
cross
pretend,
over.
Magiwe,
When he says
madod.
let's cross over, that's a sure statement that we will get
We
on the
will
other
get
side.
there. It's guaranteed.
However, in the midst of the crossing over,
There's a storm.
there's a storm.
There's a storm.
The disciples try to do whatever.
Siyafa, bathi
Pa,
siyafa.
pa, pa, pa.
Bathi vuka,
Then they
lelele,
exactly.
he was
They wake him
sleeping.
up. They wake him up. He calms the waves and then turns to them and says, "Where is your faith?"
You of legal faith.
He says, "Where is your faith, guys? You don't have faith. Where is your faith? What did I say to you? We are gonna get." So it means, probably in that situation, for a person that has faith, that had faith in Jesus, or the disciples that had faith in Jesus, what would they have done at that point? They should have joined Jesus in his sleep. Simple, because Jesus said, "We are going to get to the other side." There's a storm, but they see the person that said, "Let us cross over," is sleeping. Join him in his sleep.
Join us.
Simple.
No, uyayibeka for man.
Join the
No,
man in his sleep.
uyayibeka. Hey.
Because he said, "We're going to cross over."
Into leligadileyo ngaka.
Simple.
Into leligadileyo.
He's sleeping.
Because
There's a storm.
Hey.
Peacefully sleeping. Don't
Akana
worry.
stress,
Join and sleep, because he said, "You are gonna."
It's a guarantee.
It's a guarantee. So the process, whatever that can happen. There's a song that we used to sing at church that, with Jesus in the vessel, you can smile at the storm as we are sailing home. What does that mean? Whatever that happens, you ask the question, why is it important for God to be centered in whatever we do?
Yes, sir.
It is because God knows our future. God knows our destiny. He knows. We just need to trust in him. Simple as that. Does it mean that because God knows our future, we're just going to sit back and say, "I'm just going to say," no. God has given us the ability to do things.
Can I say something? And I think I've mentioned in one of the episodes. And this show, it's all about, I told you, and you're doing a great job on my behalf. This show, it's about not just sharing. We are here to share our stories, ne? Giving testimonies, ne? To draw abantu towards uThixo.
Yeah.
Because I said to you, I feel like abantu uThixo man sebam overrule yazi abanyathi basekho yabo, because maybe we're not hearing, they are not hearing stories like this. You understand? It's all about negativity. We are keeping these successful stories to ourselves. So that's why I decided to come out and, you understand? Here's my point. I think abantu banale perception ngathi uThixo une agenda yakhe. Naye lo muntu une-agenda yakho anele ngapho noThixo une-agenda yakho hayi suka so mina ndifuna uqhubeka ndenze into yami hayi screw you uThixo. No, you just said it. uThixo, obvious guys, uThixo umkhulu kunawe. You understand? Umele wena ufike ubani umele afithe komnye, nguwe umele ufithe kwi-plans zakhe, not yena azofita kwi-plans zakho. Because you just said it now bangabana uThixo uyazazi ii-plans zethu. I mean uyayazi destination and everything, journey yethu and it. So ndifuna ulande ukubonisa abantu abana, you guys, you gotta come closer to uThixo. So kucinga bangabana xa useva uThixo onoThixo empilweni yakho udirelile uphumile endleleni. No. uThixo uyazazi needs zakho. We just said it now. Uyazazi plans zakho. He knows what's in your heart. Ufuna ntoni life, wishes zakho yintoni. But kaloku i-trade lento. Kukho nale purpose anayo naye ngawe afuna uyifulfile anele. Nangona ndifuna nawe uba uzifumane into zakho, yabo le journey yakho uba uyisho ungafulfilla ngohlobo, ufulfilla ngohlobo your own dreams. Yes, ndiyazibona and ziyayifita iwill yam anele, by the way. And guys, if azifit iwill kaThixo, no, kumele zikhanselishwe ezo plans. You understand? So abantu, they get stuck in this thing ukuthi bafuna ufoster ngenkani ukuthi lento afuna uyenza and makayenze regardless of uThixo. You are not going anywhere, bro. That's why you're going to get stuck. You understand? Majorly way and icela yena, and it you just said it was everything. Cela yena akuguide. Uzosifumana, guys. Ngicela uthetha ngehumility. Sayibeka ngehumility. I've gotten everything I've always wanted in life in. as we are speaking now. Yes, singabantu siyagrowa, u-evolve, uyabo, ufune more. I've gotten all of those things through uThixo. Ufulfillile ineeds zami. Ne? By the way, bezi aligned neplan yakhe. Ucacile baka abantu nje enzalisa enkhulisela kula nhlupheko. He knew uba unisebenzisela lento bangabani is going to take me through this thing because he knows that journey.
Yeah.
He knows it's guaranteed. Neza storms odibana nazo ezabe ngicima mina they are there to zindlimaze. No, they're there to shape me.
Exactly.
Ukuze ndifike apha.
Exactly.
Ukuze mina usihlale so. So as our plans zam, ndiye ndazimatcha mna, ndiye ndahlakanipha abantu ndizimatche nezi zakhe. Ndithi uNkulunkulu uba ngabani kuwili yakho le way, mankanikayi yona. At the same time, now I'm open to hear about i-purpose yakho ngam. Yabo, so it's a give and take. Funeka nibe nale relationship man. Ufuna ube sempilweni yakho naye. And it's not like ba yi-treat ndiyakwenzela ukwenzele and then no, ufuna nibe nobudlelwane. The same way bangabana you have a spouse, you have a friend, you have a friendship. He wants to have that kind of relationship now.
Yeah.
So masingayihlukanisi lento because he knows what's best then.
Exactly.
Masiyidibanise. That is why I'm doing this show. But come closer, guys. Exactly. We know the source.
Yeah.
We know the source. We want to bring you to the source. Tina, we don't have answers for everything.
Exactly.
We can only inspire you guys here and there.
Exactly.
But siyakuredirecta zithobe kuqangetolo and then uthethe noThixo wakho because we don't know what's inside you. Yeah, he knows.
100%.
And so I just wanted to add on that, man.
100%.
And then, but I think I'm not sure if I cut you off. You wanted to say more, or you're correct.
Definitely.
Okay, but I think Rutmani, we have covered a lot of things here, man, and thank you for that. But I just want to ask you, maybe it's the last question. Ubangabana, is success, we all know, but it means something different to everyone. Yeah, boy, it's not the same. Yeah, boy, as you describing of when is success kuwe? What is the success kuwe? And kule journey yako so far, you're an accomplished guy and fairly young guy. What are you most proud of? What is success to you? Yeah, but how do you define success first of all? And what are you most proud of? You know, no, I've done my thing so far, you know, and but you know what, at this point, yeah.
So success is, look, a lot of people have got different definition. But to me, success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So look, as I said, like a lot of people have got different definitions, right?
Yeah.
But for me personally, I think it was also even L. Nightingale who said that success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal or worthy goal, if I can put it that way. So when you wake up every morning and you progressively realizing where you ought to be, that is success. You never arrive at success. It's a moving target. Literally, it's a moving target.
Sure.
There's no one. I can born in Japan. I've arrived at success.
I've arrived.
You see them. You see them. I don't want to say things.
I get you.
But we are born and we don't back to I've arrived. I'm born and say, Look. I'm not gonna falter that.
Yes.
I've had my fair share in that.
Yes.
Just digressing a bit.
Yeah.
In 2020, I started Q&M Distributors, right? So how Q&M Distributors started, it was in lockdown. Hard lockdown.
2020, yeah.
We were not getting anything, done all of those things. Then I just said, we're not getting food, so Q&M Distributors, basically, it was just distributing fruits from farmers to retailers and so forth. Yeah. That was the concept.
Yeah.
But it moved from there to fresh valley produce, which is basically delivering fresh produce into your doorstep.
Bypassa ke ngoku le Pick n Pay wena ngoku.
Exactly.
Iza
go straight from farm.
From the farm direct.
Straight from the farms. So we did that. So 2020 we moved from the 2021 we're supplying the fruit and veg market Ilape City Deep. Joburg, City Deep. So there's a huge fruit and veg market.
You need to track back. I was think of something. Can we just track back a little bit?
So
uthi ke ngoku ndikuvile up to to your doorstep.
Yeah.
And
So 2021, we were supplying actually the actual fruit and veg market, which is necessity deep, not your food lovers. No, it's actual fruit and veg market. If you can Google it, it's a fruit and veg market, necessity deep. That's where your spas even go and buy from them and so forth, because they deal with large volumes. So at the time, would transport about, on a weekly basis, about 20 pallets of grapes from Cape Town. Not from Cape Town, from
Seriously,
Torrance. So it was trucks. So do 2 loads. Yeah, 2 loads of that. So now this was like your 5 to 10 ton of loads on a weekly basis. Would do that. Look, I would say, let me say this to a young person that is probably growing up and is becoming a little bit of is getting a little bit of success. I want to say that little bit of success, loosely that like that, but humbly so. Yes. Right? Little bit of success. Just guard your head from exploding. Mine exploded at the time. Honestly, did explode. I was making monies that I've never seen in my
remember,
account.
I know your background also. Remember that background.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big
It was
money
new.
that
This thing is new now.
So when you start off making 6 figures a week, that is
We're not pictures, are not breathe.
so that was,
I'm back now.
see, that was
I
new
know,
to
I
me.
understand.
Yeah, bro.
Understand.
That was new to me, and and I was seeing the millions coming. Like I was seeing, but I'm getting into the millionaire status. Yeah, bro. But I'm grateful to God that I did not get to the millionaire status. I did not get to the millionaire status, which is because my goal was that I want to make 7 figures a week. I did not get there. It took a couple of loads. We were using a truck in a refrigerated and so forth.
Okay.
So, but it took a couple of loads. I remember one incident in Bloemfontein. There was a heavy hailstone. I lost 90% of the stock. So when it came here, so that's a couple of thousands. Yeah, but couple of thousand that I lost. So it happened recurring, I think, for about 4 times, 5 to 6 times in a row.
Yeah, cool.
I'm telling you, in a row. Yeah, boss. But at that time, God was humbling me to say, I've given you a chance to humble yourself.
Okay.
But now you did not humble yourself. I'm now going to humble you. So it was a lesson. So I'm in the process now of rebuilding, right? I'm in the process of rebuilding. So Q&M Distributors, Fresh Valley Produce is going to merge into one thing.
Okay.
But I'm in that process of rebuilding. Yeah, I'm in the process of rebuilding. And then coming back, it's going to be something, look, when it comes out, honestly, I don't want to, without saying further details, but it's going to be something that's going to be so great. I'm excited about it, even talking about it. It's a concept that I'm very much excited about it. Why? Because this time around, it's only going to be centered about the good things that God has done for me.
Sure, you come with experience.
Exactly, the good things that God has done for me and
clear
so forth.
mind.
Exactly, and that's why I'm going to go far. I don't have doubt about it because it's God first. So at first, God gave me the opportunity, but I misused it, right? So coming back to the question, what is success? Success is a progressive, I'm repeating that.
Yes, sir.
Progressive realization of a worthy goal. So when you wake up in the morning and you remember your goals, right? You wake up in the morning and you remember your goals and you say, this is where I'm going.
Yeah, that vision board.
Is success. You have already won for that day. So I still do things. Like I still do things. I still do things that help me to be where I am. I wake up in the morning, I do mirror talks. I talk to myself through the mirror. There's a book I once read. Let me think. Forgetting the book, but I read. There's a lot of books I'm read, but there's a story there that is. I think it's The Stranger's Secret, if I'm not mistaken, by L. Nightingale. I think it is The Stranger's. Yeah, it is The Stranger's Secret by L. Nightingale. He says that there's this guy. He was actually, and this is where I took this technique, and it worked for me. It might not work for other people, but it has worked for me over the years. So he says this guy was in a party, so he was a businessman, so they made him drunk because they needed to sign a deal. And then he just said 5 minutes, and then he went to the bathroom. When he got to the bathroom, he saw a mirror, and he started talking to himself in the mirror. He said, "Guy, you are drunk, but you need to sober up because you're about to make a multi-million-dollar deal." He don't want to get in there blindly. Sober up immediately.
Get it together.
The guy spoke to himself because he spoke to himself subconsciously, even though he was a little bit subconsciously. It helped him to a little bit sober up.
Yeah, to wake up.
To wake up from his slumber. Then I took that technique. I do that, guys. Every morning, I wake up in the morning, I go to the mirror.
Revive yourself.
My mirror is written, guys. My mirror is written.
Guys, are you listening?
My income goals for this year, they are written. 2024, my income goals are written there. I achieved them. Tick, 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 sharp. Write new goals for next year.
You need to have a vision board. There is a verse in the Bible. You must write it down, make it plain.
Exactly,
Guys,
the Bible
says. Guys, these things are in the same Bible. But isn't it serious as well? That's what I'm trying to teach them. The practical side. You see what you are bringing? You're giving us examples of the practical. What do you do? The implementation. If it's an answer to your hands.
Exactly.
You
Guys,
see what I'm saying? So
probably if I want to add into what you're saying, right? I think the generation has like was miracles, the miracles
Instant
took place in the Old Testament. Those things are not going to happen, guys. Not going to happen. God shows Himself in various ways in our lives. If you can just take a pause and look back and just look at the hurdles that you have passed on and the successes that you went through. That's why you remember I said successes, because success is not a destination, guys. You never.
It's a moving target.
It's a moving target.
The next thing I start a podcast. The next thing I don't know what's next.
Exactly. See what I'm saying?
It's not like
So when you look back, then you realize that God has been there.
He's been there.
I supposed to tell that I'm not going to talk about Abraham, Moses, and no, I'm talking about me.
Yes,
Unande, what God has done for me.
Exactly.
And everybody has a story.
Everybody, guys, this is why you need to come. You need to come, guys. So I think we've covered everything, or most of the stuff, or even extra. I understand. Thank you for that. And I believe I've also learned. I've also learned a couple. I can't wait for this episode to air. And then so that I can, man, you said a lot of gems. Even myself, I was like, if you manage to keep me, then you must know. But guys, we've come to the end of our show now. Thanks to Unande. Before we go, please let them know your social media.
Okay, so
Instagram and what.
Okay, so now social media. Okay, Instagram. Basically, I'm just on Instagram. I'm not really much onto other. I'm gonna start doing TikTok.
Okay.
And because I just wanted to do some motivational quotes and so forth and all of that. So it's gonna be Unande Nande, and it's gonna on TikTok. I'm just gonna do. People are probably gonna have Nande_Masoka.
Oh, okay.
Right, because I did open a TikTok account, which is Nande Makubele, and there was another guy that just took my pictures. They started doing funny things. So I'm just gonna do Nande_Masoka. Or something else, but it's gonna be like that. But on Instagram, it's Nande Kamani. Yes. Kamani there's no H. It's NandeQamani.
Where does Kamani come from? Because it was not part of. Because I thought Kamani is your surname. Then I went
exactly. So my full name, Pelele Kamani Nande.
Oh, Kamani Nande.
Kamani Nande. So
Kamani Nande. That is one name.
One name. So be fruitful and multiply. So that's my.
Oh, okay.
Be fruitful and multiply. So that's that's my name. So I just switched it around. So in social Instagram is Nande Kamani.
Nande Kamani. Okay.
That's where.
Thank you, bro. Me. Thank you for everything. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
Now
all right, no problem.
About this.
No stress. Yeah, no stress.
Guys, thanks. I think we've said a mouthful, especially Kamani. This was his platform for him to share his views of life, his values, his principles, his methods, man. God, you know how God has impacted his life. He told you himself about at some point, and then he lost his mind a little bit. He got to his head, and then and then now he's getting back up. You understand? So I hope you guys have learned a lot today. This is all for you guys. And then I think, man, our time is up and we need to go now.
No problem.
Guys, see you next time, yeah? From nothing to something, baby. Let's get it.
Thanks, bro.
Sure.
Thanks.